Shafted by Jarvis B. Chavez.
What? A 7-foot-tall lizard? All right, kid. This some sort of college prank? If it is, I'll have you know that making a false report to federal park authorities is a crime. Ranger Davis, can I see you for a second? I saw them walk to the corner of the room and heard them say, Ranger Davis, what is this idiot smoking?
Now, Ranger Smith, I checked. Randy didn't smell like weed or alcohol. I did administer a field sobriety test and he passed. I also ran his name, and he has no criminal record. He doesn't seem like a danger to himself or others.
Okay then, are you saying he saw a 7-foot albino iguana?
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but he could have seen some other kind of animal and it, being dark and all, just thought it was a giant lizard. Ranger Smith turned to me.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt this one time and believe what you saw was some other kind of animal and you were just mistaken as to the whole lizard thing. Look, there is no way I can mistake a giant albino lizard for any other type of animal, I exclaimed. Kid, get out of my park before I change my mind.
I just got up and left. As I left, Ranger Davis asked, What should I do with the report? Smith replied,
Just file it under stupid.
I looked out to the glory and splendor of the lake and the majestic scenery that surrounded us. It's almost as gorgeous as you, Victoria. I looked in the hotel room mirror and just had to blow myself a kiss. Blonde perfection. The summer semester had finally come to an end. After the initial disappointment of not graduating in June with my bachelor's in modern decoupage due to an F in French 100, hey, it's not my fault I got an F in French the first time. I tried really hard to get an A, but the French professor turned out to be gay. Who knew? I victoriously passed French at the end of the summer semester with a C minus. Hey, Miss Haddock said it still counted as a C. I was now ready to celebrate and get fall down drunk. Fuller Lake was packed with every college kid in the state for the end of summer blowout. The lake was teeming with activity, speedboats and jet skis everywhere. The beer and other stimulants flowed freely. 3 of my sorority sisters and my boyfriend Brian had brought me up to the lake to celebrate my late graduation. We walked down the hall and down the steps to the reception area of the hotel. Brian walked up to us and said,
Okay, girls, don't forget the party tonight. Victoria and I are on our way to start setting up the place. I got my SUV out in front, babe.
So we jumped in Brian's SUV. We drove into the nearby hills that surrounded the lake. It took a little more than an hour, and we drove up some dirt trails to get there. It was at the top of a hill. It looked like a cave opening. Brian said it was an abandoned mine of some sort from the 1920s. It had been abandoned for many years and did not even appear on new maps of the area, just on older ones. Is it safe? I asked as I peeked into the dark opening.
Sure, it's solid as a rock, trust me. I was a civil engineering major, remember? We were going to have the party out here, not in the mine anyway.
Brian began to unpack the supplies we had brought for the cookout. We set up the barbecue grill and put the drinks on ice. Brian turned to me and said,
Man, I am tired. My friend Greg and the guys are going to bring the rest of the party supplies later. They should be here in 2 hours. It's so hot out here. Hey, you want to go into the mine? It's a lot cooler in there.
I looked at the mine and said, Why not? I grabbed a towel and Brian grabbed his and we ventured into the entrance to the mine.
The shaft runs down deep into the heart of the mountain,
Brian remarked.
I've only traveled down about 10 feet.
Gets pitch black very quick down there. And you need a strong flashlight or lantern. I've seen a few bats around this cave, so be on the lookout.
Let's go down further, I said. Wouldn't it be great if we found gold or diamonds? We have time. Please, can we go? Brian smiled.
Okay, I think I have a flashlight in my car. Wait here, I'll be back.
Wow, it's like really dark down there.
Don't worry, babe. I also brought this along.
Brian pulled out a gun.
This is my grandfather's old service revolver from the Korean War. Don't worry, I know how to use it.
He turned on the flashlight.
Stick close to me and watch where you're stepping.
Brian turned to me and said sternly, we slowly and carefully made our way down the mine shaft. We saw a lot of old support beams covered in cobwebs and what looked like railroad tracks going down the center of the mine. Brian said the track would help bring up the ore they mined in wheeled carts. Brian was right when he said it would get pitch dark down here without any natural light. After what felt like an hour of non-stop walking, I turned to Brian and said, I am tired. Let's rest for a moment. We sat on the ground. Maybe we should start back, I remarked.
What's the rush?
Brian replied. He grabbed me around my waist and said,
You know, I've never done it in a mine before.
Okay, I said. But let's make it quick and please try not to pull on my hair this time. I don't like that. Brian was buttoning his shirt up.
We better get dressed quick, babe, and out of here. The gang should be arriving soon.
I pulled out my phone and started to take pictures of the mine. I probably will never get an opportunity like this again. As I turned my head, I saw a dark shadow of something sitting on a nearby rock next to a support beam. I poked Brian in the arm and said to him, What's that? A crocodile? Brian grabbed the light and pointed it towards the rock. The flashlight lit up a very long reptile-looking thing. It was lying flat on the rock, several feet in front of us.
That's not like any crocodile I've ever seen. Looks more like a big white lizard,
Brian remarked.
I've never seen one this long before. My guess it's well over 7 feet long.
Brian said, Are lizards dangerous? I asked him.
Some are carnivores. They eat insects and small animals. Unfortunately, some can be venomous.
How about this one? I pointed to it.
I don't know, babe. Let's just move slowly and avoid startling it.
We started to slowly get up off the ground. As I picked my towel up from the ground, I noticed that it was a very smooth or sleek-looking lizard. It didn't have all those gross skin tag-looking things hanging off its head like I've seen with other lizards. It had rounded edges and a slender build. I almost got the impression it was a lady lizard.
Okay, you pack everything, babe?
Brian remarked. Yeah, let's get the hell out of here, Brian. As we started to move, it stood up on its front legs. It kept tilting its head from one side to the other, as if it was trying to figure us out. Oh shit, it moved. What do we do, Brian? He said,
Let's slow down and not move for a while. It obviously didn't like that.
Brian exclaimed. I quickly reached for Brian's gun. I pulled it out of his backpack before he could say no.
Hey, babe, wait, don't shoot that thing off down here. There can be gas floating around down here, and the firing of the gun can ignite it. Plus, babe, have you ever fired a weapon before?
No, but it can't be that hard, I replied. Okay, Miss Lizard, now be a good little reptile and die, so we can get the hell out of here. The thing let out a loud hiss, jumped off the support beam, and landed right in front of us. The thing stood up on its hind legs, and in the most unearthly voice I've ever heard, it said, No! It grabbed my hand that held the gun, pushed it into Brian's chest. Then it squeezed my hand and the gun went off. There was a flash and what sounded like an explosion. I screamed as the ceiling fell on top of us. I don't remember much after that, just fading in and out. I remember feeling trapped and unable to move. I remember a lot of dust in the air and having difficulty breathing. Then I remember a bunch of people pulling me out of the mine and putting me in an ambulance and finally waking up in this hospital room, Doctor. That's what I told the deputy and the detective about an hour ago.
I see. Nurse, check her vitals and I'll check her labs.
Okay, Doctor, I will. I then saw the doctor pull the nurse aside. I heard him ask her,
Who's the doctor on the psych service tonight? Rosenblum?
The nurse responded, No, Chavez. Should we tell her about the boy? The nurse remarked.
No, not yet. We'll let the guys from psych do that. Give her a sedative that should put her to sleep for a while.
The doctor left and the nurse prepared an injection. What's going on? Where's Brian? What happened to Brian? I asked. Don't worry. There will be time for questions later. Okay, dear, this will help you sleep. The nurse showed me a hypodermic needle. Okay, I said. There, all done. I didn't even feel the needle go in. Just lay back and relax. The shot should take effect shortly, the nurse said. Wow! I feel amazing. What was in that stuff the nurse gave me? I thought to myself. They could totally sell that stuff at frat parties and make a fortune. I felt a bit lightheaded. I tried to get out of bed, but couldn't. I used the rails on the side of my bed and managed to get up. My legs felt weak. I tried to balance myself, but fell to the floor. As I tried to get up, I found myself staring at 2 sets of shoes. As I looked up, I saw 2 men dressed in white scrub outfits. They reached down and picked me up. Thanks. Are you guys, like, nurses? They looked at each other, and the tall one said,
We're not nurses. We're orderlies, lady.
Oh, okay. That's cool. You guys should totally try a mud mask. It would even out your complexion from all those acne scars and pockmarks. The short one turned to the other orderly and said,
Oh, I am really going to enjoy this.
The 2 hospital orderlies grabbed me and took me over to the window. Hey, not so fast. These paper gowns don't close so well in the back. I tried to cover my behind before they could see anything.
Look, princess, we just want you to get some fresh air.
The short one said, My name is not Princess, it's Victoria.
Anything you say, princess.
Acknowledged the tall one. They opened the window, and I immediately felt the cold night air wash over me. That's too cold. Close the window.
In a second.
The tall one said.
You ever fly?
Sure, lots of times.
Good.
He said.
Now don't fall asleep yet, or you won't feel this.
The tall one instructed me. Feel what?
You falling to your death.
He smiled. What? I said. The short one turned to me and said,
It's not smart going around telling stories about talking lizards.
He then gave me a hard push, sending me out the window. No!
I was in the car when my mobile phone rang. I grabbed it and pulled it to my ear. Wilson here. Yes, it's done. My team and I are leaving the hospital parking lot right now, sir. So, it looks like our lizard friends have once again wandered outside their designated territory. That's twice this month. I spoke to our contacts with the state police. They'll sit on the locals and close off the mine as a crime scene for now. What did she tell the sheriff? I see. Well, her fingerprints are all over the weapon. I've also done some checking. Her friends state that her and the deceased boy were an on-again, off-again couple. A few months ago, he cheated on her with a bimbo. They only recently reconciled. I can see the headline now. Spoiled rich girl kills cheating boyfriend in jealous rage. The story writes itself. I've already passed it along to our stooge at the Chronicle. She'll have it in tomorrow's paper. So we'll make it look like a suicide. By tomorrow, the autopsy report will show cocaine in her system, which will help account for the far-out story she told the sheriff. The media will speculate she couldn't face being locked up for murder. Thank you, sir. I try. I should be back in D.C. within a day, sir.